contribution. We're honored to invite to welcome four-time Grammy Award nominee and three-time Grammy Award winner, Ricky Cage. How many of you know of Ricky Cage? Can I see a show of hands? Yeah, so Ricky Cage is an award-winning composer, of course. He's an environmentalist, musician, and a philanthropist, actually. He's a dear friend. Can we play his music?
Internationally renowned Indian music composer and environmentalist, a U.S. Billboard #1 artist,
3 times Grammy Award winner. He's won over 100 awards.
Ricky Cage.
It is time to shine a light. Let's do this. It is
Ricky Cage, our champion for nature.
I take this opportunity to say thank you to Ricky Cage. Ricky has been inspiring and is one of our champions.
My brother Ricky, I'm really proud of you as always.
We are rolling this together. We are rolling this together. And nothing can remind us like a simple.
And the Grammy goes to Winds of Samsara.
And in the black.
I'd like to thank the Recording Academy. Asatoma Satgamaya Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you.
And the Grammy goes to Stuart Copeland and Ricky Cage.
In India, we've got a saying called as Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which literally means the world is one family. Live in peace with all entities on this planet, whether it is the animals, the wildlife, the forest.
It is time to shine your.
Stuart Copeland, Divine Ties, and Ricky Cage.
It's our time. Let's do this. It is
Namaste and thank you.
Climate change is absolutely real. Climate change is human-induced, and our actions are affecting countries on the other side of the world.
It is time to shine your light. Shine your light.
Let's give a big round of applause to Ricky Cage. Hi, Ricky. Hopefully you're on. Can you hear me okay? Can we get his video up? Zoom. Hi, Ricky. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly. How about you?
Wonderful. Well, you are here at the Stanford India Conference. Thanks so much for joining us today from, I don't know which city you are in. Looking forward to hearing from you. It's all yours.
Thank you so much, Anurag, and thank you for this opportunity. Always great to collaborate with you. I'm sort of hearing my own voice echo, so I'm going to take off my headphones for a bit, so I won't be able to hear you. But nevertheless, great to be here. And so I'm just going to share a little bit of my thoughts about how, USA and India have shaped up my music, and also about, about my collaborations with American musicians, and in particular one collaboration. So I'll start off by saying that throughout my life, I've always been two things. I've been a musician and an environmentalist. These two pillars have pretty much dictated my whole life and every single life decision that I've ever made. And, when I was a small child, I lived in a very small town in North Carolina. This small town was called Roanoke Rapids. And I was there for the first 6 years of my life. My father is a doctor, and he was a doctor over there. And I remember that, since we lived in this small wooded area, pretty much in the middle of nowhere, we had a whole lot of creepy crawly animals that would enter our home on a regular basis. And my parents and my teachers, their constant, advice to me was that if you see any of these animals, like rodents or insects or amphibians or whatever animals that enter our home, then you should either run away from them, or if they're small enough, then you should just step on them and kill them. And my reaction to them always was that if we are supposed to kill them the minute we see them, then why do they exist? They obviously have some sort of purpose. And now, of course, all of us know that every single species of animal, no matter how seemingly insignificant, is a very important part of our ecosystem, and it's this delicate balance of our ecosystem that keeps all of us alive. But nevertheless, these were the kind of questions that would keep me awake at night. And at the end of the day, how did music start? Music started off as sounds from nature, sounds of the birds, sounds of the animals, sounds of sounds of the wind, sounds of the water droplets. And then later on, we human beings started making those sounds more pleasing for the human ear. And it's only for the last few hundred years that music has actually become academic with notes and scales and rags. But music and nature has always been one and the same. And if you look at any indigenous culture anywhere in the world, that music is still a sort of like an imitation of nature, or it is music about nature. Anyway, so cut to a few years later, I became a professional musician, and how I became that with a family of doctors and with Indian parents, that itself is quite a story to probably talk about during another long session. But nevertheless, I managed to become a professional musician, and I started off my career doing a whole lot of commercials for television and radio. And in a short span of about 12 or 13 years, I did more than 3,500 commercials for pretty much every brand that you can imagine and their competitor. And I was working really hard doing this. And after doing this for about 12 or 13 years, it sort of struck me that these big brands have understood the power of music, so much so that they're ready to spend thousands of dollars on me to create a piece of music. And not only that, they're ready to spend a few $1 million to actually air that music on television and radio, because they understand that music is a very powerful language, not just for communicating a message, but for retaining that message deep in the consciousness or deep in the head of a listener. The songs that we learned during our childhood are songs that we never forget. And if there are any morals in the songs, those morals stick with us forever. So I decided as a sudden stop that I'm going to stop all forms of commercial music, and the only kind of music that I'm going to make is music about topics that I feel strongly about and topics that I want to communicate, things about my country that I want to communicate to the rest of the world. So then that is when I decided that every piece of music that comes out of my head or comes off my fingers or comes out of my studio is going to be in my own small, tiny capacity, in my own way, to make this world a better place. And that is what started off a new journey of mine, that every piece of music of mine is about, in some way, about positive environmental impact or social impact. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to cut to many years later, after winning a Grammy Award. I got the opportunity to collaborate with Stuart Copeland. Stuart Copeland being the drummer of the band The Police. A few of you know The Police. It had Sting in it. And Stuart Copeland is said to be one of the greatest drummers, if not the greatest drummer in the history of music, American musician. But more importantly, you cannot get more American than Stuart Copeland, because his father, Agent Copeland, actually is one of the founders of the CIA. So Stuart and I collaborated on an album. How that album came about was that it was the pandemic, 2020. I was trying to create a follow-up to my 2015 album, which had actually won me my first Grammy Award. And I reached out to Stuart, who has been my childhood idol. I grew up with posters of his on my wall, and and admiring his music throughout my childhood and my teen years. And I wanted to collaborate with him on this particular album, and I reached out to him, and I thought that what's the worst that can happen? He'll say no. I sent him my music, and surprisingly, he reached out saying that he loved the music, and he said that, okay, let's take this journey together. So during the pandemic, we spent a year online mainly. I mean, in fact, only online. We never got to meet each other in person. We sent each other files. After about 100 Zoom calls, hundreds of WhatsApp messages and WhatsApp calls, and lots of remote recording sessions, pretty much talking to each other every day for a year. We had an album ready called Divine Tides, a proper USA and India collaboration, 50% Stuart, 50% me. And that particular album got very commercially successful in 2021 when we released it. We got nominated for a Grammy Award. And even after we got nominated for the Grammy Award, Stuart and I had not even met each other in person, and such was the pandemic. Finally, we got to meet each other a few days before the Grammy Awards. It was pretty nice, because it was an emotional moment for me, because we had gone through so much together through the pandemic and through creating this album. We had become very, very close friends, even though I call him sort of like a father figure. He was, he would say more like an older brother figure because he's got children who are older than me. But nevertheless, we did this collaboration together. We got nominated for the Grammy, and then after that, we ended up winning the Grammy Award together. So that was a beautiful India-USA collaboration when it came to music, and I believe that I understood America a lot better through that collaboration, and I believe that Stuart Copeland understood India and Indianness and Indian music a lot more through that collaboration. Since then, we have done 2 more albums together, and again, India-USA collaborations, not just because I'm Indian and he's American, but also musically and culturally beautiful collaborations where there is a beautiful understanding of each other. And now we are just starting to work on our 4th album, which is going to be very, very Indian, which I'm going to be announcing soon. But nevertheless, that is basically my life, collaborating with people and bridging gaps where I believe that if you cannot get through to anybody through any kind of language or through any kind of ideology, I believe we can get through to each other through music, and that's what my role is in this life, I believe.
Well, thank you so much, Ricky. Let's just do a huge round of applause for Ricky. Ricky, you've used, thank you so much, first of all, waking up at 3 a.m. to do this with our attendees here today. You've used music to sort of bring India and rest of the world together in line with many of the predecessors like Pandit Ravi Shankar and others. But you also leveraged music to do environmental activism and do your philanthropy, so on sustainability and other areas. Kudos for the work that you do. Kudos for the soft power and the hard power that your music represents. Next year, hopefully, we'll have you here in person. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of your morning.